side.
Oh yeah.
Screenshot real quick here.
Give everyone a little sneak peek.
Man, well, welcome. We are just like Cody said a second ago. We're on the away field today. Neither one of us are at our home base, but we are excited to have Cody back again and a very special guest. We teased it all week long. Cody, go ahead and introduce your guest.
Yeah. Hey, morning team. Got the one and only Adam Knifer here with us today. For those of you that don't know or haven't met Adam, a couple fun facts about him. He coaches a couple high-level games athletes, Justin Medeiros, two-time champ, and a couple other just absolute beasts. He's on seminar staff with us at Burgener Strength, one of our lead coaches, leading courses, teaching coaches and athletes how to improve their skills and capabilities, teaching and performing the Olympic lifts. He's a level 3 CrossFit trainer. He owns CrossFit Fort Vancouver, I think on year 17 or 18. So one of the oldest gyms on the planet, which is super cool.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And not just a gym, but like a mega gym, right? Like hundreds of people all in on CrossFit, super fired up to go to his gym every day, just humble, hungry, and awesome. As a athlete as well, he competed on their team 10 years in a row. I think he's the only individual to do that in CrossFit history, which is super cool. And they ended up on the podium. They won the CrossFit Games in 2010 and took third place in 2017. Just a CrossFit legend, and fired up to have him here. So thanks for hopping on, man.
Dude, thanks, Cody. That's an impressive memory you have.
I stayed up all night just writing it down and going over it. So.
Rehearsed it a few times.
Rehearsed it, memorized it as you guys were drinking wine and painting the painting behind you there. You guys are in. You said you're in Boise. You've got a course this weekend.
Yeah.
2-day course. Yes.
Yep.
How often do you travel with Cody, and how often do you teach the courses?
Man, not as much as I would like, but usually a handful of times a year I get out to. Honestly, it's one of my favorite weekends of the year. Whenever we get together, it's just like a good time to spend time together. The course is always amazing, but just being together with one of your buddies to talk shop about your gyms and just what's going on is it's always just really uplifting and really refreshing. So a lot of fun.
I'd be curious to know, like, as it's 17 years that you've had your affiliate?
Oh,
is that
man.
right?
I think 16. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cody years. A little bit.
Oh, only 16? I'm no longer impressed.
Yeah, that's not that big a deal. 16, no big deal.
I guess 17, yeah.
Obviously, owning and running your affiliate, coaching high-level games athletes. I'd be curious to know what a normal week looks for you. How often are you on the gym floor coaching, like your everyday classes? How much time is spent coaching your high-level athletes? What does that look like? I know sometimes it's in person. It seems like sometimes it's virtual. Like, what does a normal week look like for you?
Yeah. I'm not sure what a normal week is.
I was going to say, if there is a normal week, I get that too.
Because, as affiliate owners, we wear a lot of different hats. And for me personally, I coach about 10 hours a week on the gym floor in our regular group classes.
Yep.
And that changes week to week. We have a pretty big team, and so it requires all of us to, step up at certain times. So for me personally, I feel really grateful to my team because I do travel quite a bit, whether it's at seminars or it seems like now there's a lot of CrossFit events, especially in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
A lot more than there used to be.
Yes.
And so, they pick up for me. When I'm home, I get to pick up for them and just kind of balance that. I have a few in person, I would say like higher level athletes, semifinal type athletes. And then most of the other ones, are remote. And so I try to connect with them a couple times a week as well.
So when you're at home and you've got the high level athletes that are close by, do they jump into normal classes at Fort Vancouver?
You know what? Yeah, they do. They really do. That's and it's honestly, it's one of their favorite parts because they get to be
really cool.
Like the rest of us and just enjoy the camaraderie and the magic that you get with working out with other people. And those guys, they train quite a bit, and so getting to do it with other people is just, it provides so much enjoyment, and the classes love it. We just did actually a benchmark on Wednesday. We did Isabel.
What'd y'all do? Isabel?
Yeah. A little classic barbell cycling. I don't know if you guys saw it. Did you guys see Justin and Dallin did Isabel up at CrossFit Northern Exposure for a CrossFit kind of filming.
I think I didn't get to watch the video. I didn't see the whole thing.
Well,
yeah.
It wasn't very long, so it was pretty
No
quick.
kidding.
Yeah,
That's funny. You mentioned barbell cycling, and I think of Isabel, and I'm like, oh, singles. There's no barbell cycling in my world, but yeah, I get it for sure.
Yeah, true. It is a different workout, but yeah. So those guys, actually, Justin told me that Dallin and him tied, and I'm like, there's no way you guys tied. There cannot be a tie, right? Like somebody had to win, and sent me the video, and I'm like, I actually cannot tell. I think they really did tie.
A photo finish.
Yeah. So we did that class on Wednesday, and all of our kind of higher level athletes were in the 10 a.m. class and did it in a circle.
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's
fun. It was really fun. Yeah.
That's so cool. So how did you create that sort of culture? Because I know we hear feedback that a lot of times the higher level athletes want to kind of do their own thing and they are special to some degree, and then to hear that they're in class, they're doing it there, and then they do something like that you get a circle of people doing 30 snatches like I can only imagine what that's like in class, where I'm like, they're probably done in 90 seconds, 2 minutes. I'm on my 8th snatch at that point, continuing to kind of watch and struggle along. But how exciting that would be for me as an athlete to see, and just to have to have that a part of the affiliate. Like, how did you guys create that culture?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. I think that, so for that workout, it's a good example. Just looking for opportunities. There's lots of opportunities in our gym to serve our members and to build and create culture. And, for that class, as an example, they did the warm up, they did the whole kind of progression and build up. But when we did actual Isabel, we actually did it in 2 heats. Those guys, they get a little nervous for their workouts anyway, so they need to go to the bathroom or whatever. So we did the normal people in a heat, which is what, 5 minutes.
The normal people.
Yeah. So and then because they actually love watching, Trista and Mac and those guys. And, so when the 5 minute, whatever, the class got done, we started the second heat and they were all done in 1:20 something. Right. And so everybody in the class actually did get to watch them without having to take a break during their workout, which is really fun. But I think, honestly, just leadership in our coaching team is what has built that culture. One of my favorite parts, Emma, one of our coaches, was in that group. She's really good at barbell cycling and ended up beating kind of all the pro athletes by a couple seconons.
Wow.
And so she's just one of us, but happens to be really good at barbell cycling for sure. And I think early on, there's this balance of like, everybody comes into your gym wanting to improve themselves. Most people are wanting to get healthier, get stronger, lose some weight, whatever their individual goals are. And then there's a small subsection of your community that's like, hey, I don't really care as much about health. I just want to see what's possible. Like, I want to test the limits of my fitness. And I think that it's important, at least for us when we were first starting this, I guess in 2009, to support both groups, but make sure that those groups are not, there's no gap in the importance of their goals, right? So just because you compete doesn't mean you're any more important than anybody else. So the classes have priority, but everybody's welcome and everybody is encouraged to pursue whatever it is that motivates them and they're passionate about.
I think that's huge. Like you making mention that the class is the priority. And I think if that is known in the forefront, that it's like, hey, class is priority. We want you to pursue what you want. We want you to help you. We want to help you achieve your goals. But as long as class is priority, you take part in that, then we can do stuff in addition to that. And the reason we're not at our home base is we're at CrossFit Mayhem this weekend. And the same thing happens here. It's amazing to go and jump into, like we did a 3 o'clock class yesterday, and you've got the games level athletes, you've got the people that you see at the games and on TV and all of that kind of stuff. And they're jumping into regular classes. And it sounds like the same sort of culture here that you guys built there, which makes it a lot of fun as an athlete, and to be able to jump into that and see what's possible with what they're doing, and then feel what it's like for just the normal folks like us do it. And that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know, how do you guys know each other? Like, I know you both have been around for a long time and you're in the same area. And I know, in 2009, if you're doing CrossFit, you almost knew everybody in the state that you're in or the neighboring states that were doing CrossFit. I can remember those days. So tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think we met in 2009 or 2010 at the regionals, and then stayed in touch. I actually was kind of helping Greg Amundsen with he had like a clothing line at the time, Fire Breather Athletics. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I helped kind of like, it's like a little mini sponsorship with some of the Northwest athletes.
Cody was the first sponsored athlete for that company.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
Man, is that why the company's not around still, or what? What happened with
that's a
that?
good
Come on.
question. We should bring it back for sure. I think like most 2010 CrossFit clothing brands, they maybe aren't still around, but Greg
A lot
Amundsen,
of dragons, a lot of flames, a lot of like, yeah.
man.
Actually, it was, dude. The
It
logo,
was.
the logo was a dragon.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Of course it was. Everything back then was.
Fire Breathing Dragon. Anyways, at the time I was in California as an instructor nearby where Greg was living. So I'd see him every month or so. And so we ended up reaching out to Adam, they'd come off of, winning the games the year before, maybe. Either way, just someone that I didn't know much about, but just was obvious that he was just a good leader, example in our community. I thought represented what Greg Amundsen and his brand represented. And so reached out to him if he wanted to be involved. The sponsorship included like a pair of shorts, and then we're going to post a picture of you on probably like the Facebook and the MySpace page, to be honest. and then we kind of just stayed in touch a little bit over the years. Like if you remember the early days, like networking between gyms, I think happened a lot more organically than it does now, just because there was so few of us. And so spent some time there, and then it's just we'd see each other at events and kind of became buddies there. And then I would do courses at their gym, and then once he started coming on staff, we started spending more time together. And then like you guys know, sometimes like those seminar friends, those CrossFit friends, even if you see each other less often than you people every day, you have so much in common that it's just easy to kind of have a lot to connect over and all that good stuff. So that's pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah, man. And honestly, from my perspective, like I think we connected the most when COVID happened. We all needed somebody to just kind of like cope through a really unknown time. And Cody was one of probably the gym owner that I just connected with the most. We'd have a shoulder to cry on, and just be able to like be able to just talk about what's going on in our gyms and how are we going to navigate kind of a really tricky and unknown situation. And one of the really cool things that came out of that is Coach B had, I don't know exactly how it happened, but Coach Burgener had asked Cody like, hey, what do you think about an online weightlifting course? Or maybe actually Cody, it was the opposite. Cody actually pitched it to Coach Burgener. And at first he was like, no way, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I was taking a online course with someone else, and I was like, this is garbage. Oh, we could do way better than this. And so I reached out to Adam because I was like, have you been coaching on Zoom? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, we're doing this thing next week. Let's try it out. And so we built this pitch and had Coach B and the Burgener Strength leadership there and a couple representatives from CrossFit Training, and got the green light. And then we ended up doing like 2 a week or so for like, I think.
So those were live on Zoom courses that you guys were doing. You didn't film stuff and then just ship it as a course that people could consume on their own. Okay.
That's right. And so because we could do them midweek, we started doing a couple a week for 8-10 weeks. And so we had a lot of screen time that year for sure. So
for sure. Yeah. And honestly, outside of that, Cody's also been just kind of a mentor for me in terms of coaching, especially on Burgener Strength seminar staff. I feel like I've learned a ton from him, both on the kind of the technical coaching side, but also just being a leader in the community. It's been awesome.
That's so interesting and refreshing to hear, right? Obviously, like with your success in the sport and your longevity with the affiliate and everything that you've done, to hear that you're able to learn. Obviously, Cody's amazing and a specialist, but it also takes a lot of the individual to be willing and open to learn that stuff and not think you've got it all figured out. I'd be curious to know, what does coaching look like for you specifically with your higher level athletes? A lot of times I find, or it seems like, the high level coaches do a lot of the program design, and then from Kristen and I's experience judging at the games, movement quality isn't always seem to be a priority. but I know, obviously Justin, I've had the fortune to judge him a few times, and I know the quality of his movement. So I'm assuming that that's something that's not just something that he's interested in, but something that you've worked on with him. So is that part of your coaching? What's your thoughts on movement quality? Is it primarily program design? Where's your head at with that?
Yeah. I think that the way our sport has evolved, a lot of coaches and athletes at the top of the sport now are actually remote, more than I would have thought.
Right.
And there's a lot of limitations that come with remote coaching. And so, actually when Justin and I first started working together, one of the prerequisites was like, hey, Justin, if we're going to do this, you got to move out to Vancouver. At the time I was really, I don't want to say I was against remote coaching. I just don't like it. Because
there's obvious huge disadvantages to the remote coaching.
Yeah.
And to have someone in person, I would think that there's so much more that you can do in person than you can do remote.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right. And that's really, at the beginning with him specifically, I was like, hey, you got to come out to Vancouver. And, just having that in-person time allows you to give immediate feedback. Cody and I were talking about this yesterday. Sometimes you think you have the perfect programming written out for somebody, and then they're doing it and you're like, yeah, actually we're going to change this up. And unfortunately, when you're remote, that just can't happen. There's no opportunity for immediate feedback. And, some of just the little detail things that you might be able to give feedback on in person just get missed, and that's unfortunate. So I really, Justin lives in Boise now, but I really cherish that time that we got together for like 2.5 years to be, basically in the trenches together every single day, every single session. And so I think the more time that we can get eyes on as coaches, the better off that is. Now our rhythm looks a little different. That's part of the reason we're here in Boise a day early is we're going to spend all day today after we get done here with him and with Ellie and a couple athletes here locally to be able to just get some eyes on their session. And so we usually talk about like, hey, what's our highest priority pieces that we want to work through and do in person. And, it doesn't make up for the time missed, but with an athlete,
right,
that level, I feel a lot more comfortable because like I said, we have invested a lot of time and effort. With a beginning athlete, that remote relationship is a lot tougher to create that movement quality that you just described that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'd be curious. So like with you spending a day with them today, what will be your primary focus? Obviously you have stuff that you want them to do, but will you be just looking at how they attack the workouts? Will you be making sure the movement quality is still as sound as it was when you saw them on a daily basis? Like, I'm sure you have a primary focus. It's probably a little bit of all of that, but is that a big part of it since you're in person now of like, hey, let me make sure or look for any sort of efficiencies we can work on in the quality of your movement?
Yeah, for sure. And it's actually it's not the hardest day, right? Because I know you can work hard and push. We don't really need to see him do that, but today's a snatch day, actually. I thought, nice. Man, and actually asked him, hey, what do you want to?
Oh, well, and you got Cody with you too. It's like, hell yeah, let's take advantage of this for sure, right?
That's exactly right. And I've gotten to have eyes on him specifically for like 6 years. And so having Cody here in person, it's like, why wouldn't we, take advantage of Cody's expertise and capitalize on having another world-class coach, especially in that specific discipline, to be able to do a really detailed snatch session and get eyes on. And maybe Cody sees, well, for sure, Cody's going to see some different things than I see, and that can only be helpful, And so I'm excited for that today.
I think we should just change everything. I think start over from the ground.
Start over here. Let's get the PVC pipe. Yeah. You mentioned a minute ago that sometimes you think you've got the perfect plan written out for somebody, and then you're watching them execute it. You scrap the plan and change it up based on what you're seeing. And I know we've talked about this to some degree, Cody. I'd love to hear, Cody, your opinion and your thoughts. Like, when that happens, what is it that you're noticing that makes you scrap the plan and change things up?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. We've talked about this a lot over the years. And I almost think that's like maybe a defining characteristic of coaching versus programming for somebody. Like the programming I see as more like guardrails than a roadmap. It's going to tell me what are my parameters, what's the intent, and like how far left and right can I go while still moving forward in the right direction. But I've had a lot of times where it's like, hey, we were supposed to do 5 rounds here. We're going to do 3. Hey, I had, or like I'll actually write in the program, like, hey, 8 to 12 muscle ups, because it's going to kind of depend on how things are looking and feeling that day. So as we're warming up and practicing, not only do I have in mind like the total volume of muscle ups that I want roughly at the time of the season, whatever it is, but making sure it's a number that they can get in maybe 2 sets was the goal. So like picking a number that they can get, they have to break up, but they can get in 2 sets, doesn't need a 3rd set, something like that. So as we're warming up practicing, kind of more of a check-in, like, hey, I'm thinking 10, what do you think? They're like, yeah, 10 sounds good. Make that adjustment. So looking for, can they keep the pace that we had in mind, right? So like, I thought this would be like about 2.5 minutes per round. And in our practice, I think that's going to be more like 3.5. So let's trim something or switch it the other way. Also, I've had the reverse where it's like, hey, we were supposed to do 3 rounds and now we're doing 5 and things like that.
Sorry that you're doing so well today.
You're welcome. Yeah. And then when I get to work with some of our higher end athletes also, sometimes I have like kind of 4 tasks for the day, but how the first task goes will definitely affect what we do for the second one. And I might kind of change that a little bit. Hey, the hands are a little bit more destroyed than we thought, so we're not going to do this. We're going to switch to this, things like that. So I almost feel like sometimes programming is like, you're like the archer, right? Like pulling back and aiming and like get everything set. But once you let it loose, then you have to be the wind and make those little adjustments as you go. And there's definitely a time for that archer phase and the wind phase. And don't ignore either. Don't never be an archer and don't never be the wind. Just make adjustments, make it better as you go. It's like a painting, right? You're never done with a painting, you know, like you're like, if it was up to you, always tinker forever. And so you think of programming, no art is perfect. You can always make some adjustments.
That analogy, the guardrails and the arching analogy, like they're so good for coaches in general, like in all different levels, where it's like you've got to have your plan, you have to have your guardrails, but such a challenge I see. And as you get more experience with coaching, of course, people get more like better with this, but just giving yourself that permission of, hey, just because I have this plan doesn't mean that I have to execute it to the letter. Part of coaching is seeing what's in front of you and being able to adjust on the fly, depending on what's the best thing for either the athlete, the person, or the people in front of you. So do you use that strategy too when you're just coaching group classes with your normal athletes?
I do, for sure. Yeah, like we do try to do like a pretty good handoff, like from class to class. And I don't think there's a single day that goes by where the 6 a.m. class is the same as the 7 p.m. class, because it's going to get better as we go and it's going to change a little bit. And so maybe it's the layout of the floor. Like, hey, we thought this would work. We got to change it. Hey, we thought that the 3 preferred scaling options would be this. I actually think we should switch to this. Or we're always making those changes the whole time, which is, I don't know. One thing I learned in the military was that there's no such thing as a perfect plan. The plan is what sets you up for success for proper adjustments. And so no mission I ever went to plan, but because we had a plan, we knew what adjustments to make. And so I think like 100%. Programming, running good classes, running good sessions is really similar in my opinion.
It's so funny that you bring that up, because we work with so many coaches and like you teach them to lesson plan and timestamps and all this stuff. And I can't tell you how many times I've been like reviewing somebody's class and they'll come over and be like, I know I was 3 minutes over on my specific warm up from when I wanted to get that done. And I'm like, that is the least of my concerns. Like, hey, to your point, it's like you create the guide rails with that plan, and no one, if you hit your plan, you're probably doing it wrong.
It was probably dull and flat and boring.
Right. And you're probably so adhering to the plan that you actually stopped before you needed to, just to transition to the next piece, rather than being like, man, I need 3 more reps to see what's going on, or whatever it may be. So I love hearing that as well.
So true.
I know we've got the Open coming up, and I think we tease this call as discussing the Open. I'd be curious to know what that looks like for both of you guys in your affiliates. I would assume that you guys are pretty bought in, and so your gyms and your members are probably pretty bought in, but tell me about that a little bit.
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, it probably is pretty similar between the two of us with some differences, but I think that both of us in our communities look forward to the Open every year. It's something that people rally around. I think our gym is definitely, I always joke around, we're a procrastinating gym. We don't have people that sign up way early. You'll kind of like
Ours is exactly the same. Yeah,
You're like, "Hey,
it's
sign
like
up for
the
the
night
Open."
before it starts, all of a sudden we get so many signups. Yeah.
Yeah, it drives me nuts because we have a little competition with CrossFit Roots actually and Diablo
Okay.
CrossFit. We always are like pretty close, and it's like this intergym rivalry, and they're always like double us until maybe like 2 days out, and then we try to make this last minute like hero push and catch them. But yeah, I
That's
think
a good strategy though, when you think about it. It's like keep the numbers low so that they get a little bit comfortable, and then at the last second, just you
little
surpass.
sneak attack. I wish I could
Yeah.
say it was a strategy. I think we're just procrastinators. I'm not sure why.
I think it's a strategy. You should own it.
Yeah,
Strategy.
totally. But yeah, I think one of the themes that we both probably have is just a group of coaches that are really committed and have good leadership. They're not necessarily the fittest people, but they lead from the front, lead by example, participate, encourage people around them. And I think that the coaches in our gym really understand that the Open is such a great opportunity for us to serve our members in a much bigger way than just the rest of the year. It's an opportunity for us to like invest more time and effort and pour into our athletes. And it's like, and something we don't take for granted. It's just like I said, I really look at it as an opportunity for us to meet people where they're at, figure out, hey, what makes them tick? Why are they doing the Open? Everybody has a little different reasons. But hopefully there's something in there for everybody, and we can, just make it a really positive experience and really fun time in the gym where just people are excited. They're, they're getting first muscle ups. They're doing all the cool stuff that happens, and really just participating in celebrating, not just themselves, but everybody around them.
Yeah, you mentioned being a real positive experience. I've never had anybody sign up and do the Open and be like, man, I wish I hadn't done that. You know what I mean? Like I get people that are dragging their feet, and either some don't sign up or some reluctantly do. But to your point, like if you bring that kind of energy, it's going to be a positive experience, and no one's going to regret that thing. So yeah, I love hearing that. Cody, what about you guys? What do you guys do?
Yeah, just to add on to that really quick, I do hear a lot people in their second year say, I wish I signed up last year. Because they did the workouts anyways, but they were maybe only 6 months in. And then year 2 comes around and they're like, dang it, I was ready. Because the truth is you're never ready. And so I hear that a lot. I never hear anyone that regrets it. Also, like we encourage people to come to the Open, do the Open, whether they register or not. We want them to come and do the workouts, be part of it, because just so many reasons. It's game day. It's CrossFit Advantage in an exaggerated form, right? It's like everything that makes us great times 1.1, right? It's just a little bit more of our gym, and same with every gym around the world. And so for me, this, I've really loved the last couple of years, especially of just a reminder of like, it just gives me that spark, that nervousness, that fire that I had when I first started CrossFit before every single workout. And once you've been coaching and doing CrossFit for a long time, you can kind of get like numb to that almost. When you coach 3 classes in a row, you lose the magic of when you work out in the next class. And so the Open for me is that opportunity to like reignite that magic of like, I don't know what the workout is. I don't know how it's going to go. Someone else is telling me what to do and when. I just really love that. And so for me, the last couple of years, the 2 ends of the spectrum, I've done the Open for 10 plus years, and then like the brand new Open members, those have been really my favorites to see go through the process of the Open. Just like anything difficult, when you come out the other side, you're just a little different, right? Like you just see your experience at the gym better. The gym almost sees you different because you saw your regular gym members step up and be a participant in something a little bit bigger than just our 4 walls. And I just really love what comes out of the process of the game season. The Open in particular, because for a lot of people, the Open is their CrossFit Games, right?
That's it.
That is your CrossFit Games. That's your season. And whether you have been training for it and it's like a really big deal to you, or I guess everyone's been training for. If they're coming to classes, they're training for, right? Or you're a professional, something else. You're a parent, you have all these other roles. But for you, these 3 days, you get to be an athlete. You get to have a judge. You get to have game day. I just think that's a really special thing that we have inside of our gyms. You know, some athletes will sign up for local competitions and do those things on their own throughout the year. But the Open is the official CrossFit season that we do together here. And that magic is like hard to duplicate in other settings. And we just love that aspect, right? And for us, we talked earlier about there can be conflict between your competitor, your special group, and your regular members. The Open is a really good anchor point for reminding everyone that we're all in the same boat here. We're all in the same lunchroom. We might sit at different tables, but we are one gym. We're one community. Like let's do this thing together. The difference between you and me is so small. Just your interest level, your time available is the main difference, right? So it's a really fun time for like everyone's an athlete, and I love that. Because not everybody wants to be an athlete year round, even though we refer to them as athletes. You know, like some people, it's not what they're here for. And so to get a chance to treat them like they are the fittest athlete in the world is pretty fun.
It's funny how much it matters when you're signed up for the Open, no matter who you are. Like to your point, normal workout any given day of the week, it's like it's just a workout. I show up, I do the workout. When the Open's there, like I get butterflies and I'm nervous and I'm like, why do I care? Like no one's going to be looking at my score on the leaderboard. It doesn't matter, but I'm nervous. And I think one of my favorite parts was, I can't remember what year it was, maybe like 17 or 16. There was the Open workout that had the dumbbell front squats and then the burpees over the dumbbells. And then I think you followed up with like a heavy clean or clean and jerk or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I got my mom doing CrossFit in 2009. And so she's done the Open a handful of times. And that year she came back on Monday and repeated that workout because she thought she could get a couple more burpees. She was done. And she was like, I really think I could have got a couple more workouts. And I was like, that was such an awful workout. I would never want to do that again. I can't believe that you care enough to come back to redo that just to get a few more burpees over the dumbbells. But to your point, it's like it matters. And it's the one time of year that the workouts do really matter. So it's always just such a fun experience. Do you guys do any of the Friday Night Lights? Do you do any of the intramural Open type stuff? You put teams together or do any of that? What does that look like?
Yeah, for us, I mean, I was just going to say it's a good opportunity for us to just visit with our team, our coaches, and be intentional to talk about how we want to deliver a great Open experience. For us, we typically have like 13 CrossFit classes a day, basically every hour. And it's a lot of classes. And our normal schedule is like coaches typically coach in 2-hour blocks. We found that 2 hours is a pretty nice sweet spot. 3 is possible, but that third one, you're kind of like
you're smoked.
Yeah, it's hard to give that third class the same energy as you've given the first.
Man. And 4 is like you're surviving, you know. So that so during the not the Open, so all the rest of the days of the year, it's mostly 2 block classes. But during the Open, I love it how our coaches just show up and they're kind of there all day. And it's not like they're not required to be, but usually during the Open, we actually change it up. So it's like we go every other class and just kind of flip flop the lead.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
You know, like I might go in and lead 5 a.m. the first one and Colin is assisting because it's really nice to have 2 coaches on the floor during the Open. There's a lot of opportunity to coach, but not a lot of time. It's quick, right? It's free when you're considering you're doing 2 heats in an hour. And so that warm up is, it needs to be really intentional. And luckily, by the time, like Cody was saying, after you get a few classes in, you kind of get it dialed. So it gets better and better as the day goes on. But we typically encourage our athletes to show up like 15 minutes before class so that the lead coach for that class then can also assist and just really not so much get warmed up, but just talk with them. Hey, what are you thinking? How are you looking at this workout? What version are you planning on? Those type of things. And just touching base early. And then, just how are you going to execute? And it doesn't need to look the same for Cody's gym as my gym, for any other gym, but just kind of figuring out what works well for your community. For us, flip-flopping classes is something that works really well. We like to offer the Open in every single class because although we love Friday Night Lights, there's a reason that people that work out at 5 a.m. come in at 5 a.m. Usually has to do with their work/life balance. And so I just know that they ain't coming if they have to wait until 6 o'clock at night to do it. Right. So they want to come in and work out with their normal group at their normal time in our gym. And, if there's a couple hundred people doing the open workout that day, it is nice for us to be able to spread that out through the entire day.
So you're not there all night long, just running heats until 10, 11 o'clock, right?
Totally.
I'd love to get.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's kind of how the whole day rolls. And then there is a Friday Night Lights where a lot of the people, and I mean, you guys know, it is so fun watching people do the open if you've already done it, right?
Oh, yes.
It is devastating if you haven't done it. If you're like the last heat or something like that, and you've just watched people get demolished all day long.
Totally.
I don't want to do this anymore.
But dude, that feeling of watching everybody else and cheering them on after you've already gone is the best. And so, we do see those 5 a.m.ers or 6 a.m.ers, whatever it is, come back later in the day and just enjoy, watching and cheering on the Friday Night Lights crew. And then we always do a big celebration at the end of the open with just a gym potluck barbecue type. Celebrate the end of the season, and it's a great time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd love to get a little insight from both of you, just from a coaching perspective, because I know that's something a lot of coaches struggle with, like, to your point, there's not a lot of time. There's a ton of just logistics to figure out. Are you guys going into those classes with a little bit of a plan of like, I'm going to do a specific warm-up, I'm going to coach people a little bit? Do you pick one main thing to just make your focal point? Or do you rely on all the coaching you've done the other 360 days of the year and just give a couple of reminders? Like, what's your approach from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, I'll jump on that one. It's a combination of both for us. One, we do look at this as a competition, so you might get undercoached a little bit, but we want to make sure that it's very clear of what the workout is, what are the scaling options, what are the requirements. So one thing that we do is Thursdays, we do kind of like a first look. So this is where like a lot of our coaches will do the workout on Thursdays. Like you said, Todd, it's really tough to coach it all day and then have to do it. So we kind of do a lot of our coaches will do it on Thursday. That really sets us up for success for our logistics, our flow, our timeline, any strategy tips that we have to pass on to our different levels of athletes, things like that. What's going to be the crux coaching wise, things like that. So it gives us kind of a plan. And then for us, we actually do the open workouts at our gym on Saturdays. For the last 6 years, I've had 2 gyms. And so one location would do the workout all day Friday. The other gym would do it all day Saturday. That would give us an opportunity to send people to visit the other gym. Always really fun to cross over there and just maximize the opportunities to do the open workout. Sold that gym recently. And so for this year, we're going to keep it on Saturdays at my gym. And so that gives us Friday to kind of keep working on it, dial it in. What we do is we'll actually put the timeline of the class on the whiteboard so that everyone's aware. First thing, let's meet over here. Here's what we're going to do. We break into, on our Saturdays, we have 2-hour classes. And so we'll break into teams of 3 typically. And we'll say, hey, if you're athlete 1, you're going to come with me and we're warming up. If you're athlete 2, you're going to be over here reviewing the standards. We have everything printed out multiple times, posted around the gym, and make sure that you know what's going on. If you're teammate 3, if you're teammate 3, you're going to go over the movement standards because you're judging. Teammate 2, you're going to start getting warmed up as well. Anyways, we have like a flow there. We also try hard to just reshare all of the information that CrossFit puts out when the workout's released. So when the video drops on Instagram, we share it right away. We put out an email that has the score sheet, the rules, the standards, like make sure you know what's going on. No matter how well you do that, there's going to be 15% of people that walk in and they have no idea what's going on.
Sure.
What's the workout today? Why is everybody in here? What's going on?
A third of them had no idea it's even a special day. And so
what's the office?
Yeah, exactly. And so
and I like the generosity of 15% too.
It is kind of funny because like as gym owners, we do sometimes assume that just because you posted or said something once that everybody knows and remembers it. But like they need to see it and hear a lot of times. But anyways, you just try to get the information out as many ways as possible, just so they have like the basic information. And then some people will show up knowing what version they're going to do. They already have a plan. And then some of them you have to work with them on that. But having longer class times for the Saturday is like a really huge help. In the past, when we did it at Fridays, sometimes depending on what the workout is, we would change our class schedule as well, because you just need more time to go through it. We would also kind of like break people into groups, like, hey, raise your hand if you've taken the judges course. All right, move over to this side. You guys are gonna break into groups of 3.
Oh,
I
love that.
The nice thing about that was, and it had nothing to do with ability level as athletes, but it kind of like helped us get groups in appropriate buy-in levels, right? So like if you've taken the judges course, you're probably a coach or you're hoping to go to quarterfinals. And what we say, like if Adam wants to go to quarterfinals this year and he needs a judge for his workouts, he needs to be a judge so that we can team up and judge each other. And so put those, if you're officially registered for the Open, let's meet in the middle. If you're here to do the workout, but you haven't registered, let's meet over here. So then you got these 3 groups of similar buy-in levels, and then team them in groups of 3, start doing your briefings and go from there. That's kind of our basic plan.
So how long, like what are the class blocks on Saturdays? And do you have to add more Saturday classes to your schedule to get everybody through? So
we don't currently. We have an 8 a.m. and a 10 a.m. And so we've got a relatively large gym. And so plenty of time. Our 8 a.m. is like we have like a sport, like a competition class on Saturdays. And during the Open, we open that up to everybody to come do the Open at 8 o'clock if they want to, or the 10. And the cool thing is a lot of times the 10 a.m. folks will come and watch the 8. The 8 a.m. folks will stay and watch the 10. It's pretty fun. But that 2-hour block lets us get 3 relatively large heats in per class. And with a larger gym, we're usually able to get that done in 3 heats. If we need to add a class or go later at the 10, we definitely can. But we haven't had too much of a problem with that the last couple of years.
With going into the Open, we know that there's going to be some simpler movements. There's going to be some more high skill stuff, ideally, right, that we get a chance to get to. And Adam, you made mention of this earlier, of like people getting their first muscle up or getting their first 50 double unders or hitting a new snatch PR or something like that is always one of the most exciting parts of doing the Open. Do you guys do anything to try to facilitate and prepare people for that? Obviously throughout the year you're exposing them through your regular programming, you're scaling them appropriately and helping build them up, but is there anything specific that you guys do either during the Open or building up to the Open that really helps focus on some of those higher level skills that people want to achieve or might be able to get their first of in those Open workouts?
For sure. 100%. We program toward the Open. Really after the new year, our programming flavor changes a little bit. We, in our gym programming, do a lot of 3-week waves where we do some progressions for 3 weeks, have a little deload, and then start a new 3-week wave. And that really is kind of born out of the conjugate strength system. And we actually use that. We apply it to other movements as well. And so typically we'll do some gymnastics progression and a weightlifting progression in 2 3-week waves leading up to the Open. And obviously you don't know what movements are coming up, but this year for our weightlifting, we've been focusing on the snatch. And so we just, the last couple of weeks we've done, to kind of pressure test that before the Open. We did Ingrid 2 weeks ago. And then this week I mentioned we did Isabel.
What is Ingrid? Which one's Ingrid?
Ingrid is like one of the newer benchmarks. It's 10 rounds of 3 snatches and 3 bar facing burpees. So it takes.
Oh, okay. And the weight is the same as Isabel?
Yeah, it takes Isabel. And some people say it makes Isabel a little easier because every time you do 3 snatches, you got to stop and take a break and do some burpees.
Right. Like, I mean, I don't love burpees, but I kind of like the idea of breaking it up a little bit. Yeah.
Totally. It's a fun little twist for sure. And yeah, it's just one of those things. So obviously there's no guarantee that snatches come up, but if some other movement comes up and we feel good about people's snatches, they're gonna be just fine in a clean or a clean and jerk or whatever else as well.
For sure.
We also do more thrusters leading up to the Open for sure.
I know, right?
I wonder why.
Yeah, totally. So, and we actually just got to do CrossFit HQ and the Air National Guard came out and we got to do Fran at our gym.
Oh, no way.
as kind of like one of those events. Actually, they filmed Trista doing it, and her goal is to do Trista and Mac were going for a sub 2 minute Fran, and so
Whoa.
I think the video will actually come
How'd it
out.
go?
It was
Oh,
awesome.
no
It was
spoilers.
awesome.
No spoilers.
Yeah. I think that's coming out in a couple days, so we'll see. See how that
We'll
turns
look for
out.
Yeah.
And then similarly, a 3-week wave on some gymnastics. The last couple of years have actually done something really similar where we do like a 5 sets on the minute of strict pull-ups and box step overs, kipping pull-ups or chest bar pull-ups, and box jumps, and then bar muscle-ups and box jump overs. And so
that's cool.
Starting that out at a very basic level on week 1 is pretty fun. And we just, in our class this week, I think it was on Monday, just so many people that are like, man, I didn't get my first strict pull-up, but now I can do 3 in a row, or we had to go get our first bar muscle-up the other day. And just like, it builds a lot of excitement and confidence going into the open of like, hey, I'm ready for this. Like, even if I'm not going to CrossFit Games maybe, but like I'm the best I've ever been at these movements, and I feel really prepared. And I think that confidence takes maybe it doesn't take the nerves out of the open, but it gives it gives people like some excitement to go in and be like, hey, I'm ready. I'm looking forward to this. I know that I'm gonna be prepared to do as well as I can.
Or even just getting, because there's so much, the magic of the open, getting your first bar muscle up, but so much value to doing that prior, getting your first bar muscle up before the open even comes out. Then the excitement of seeing that workout release that has bar muscle ups in it. And like I have that movement now. And then like you said, the confidence going into the workout, knowing I have that movement and now I'm going to try to get as many reps as I can. I mean, it's just such a different way to be excited about the workout. That's
totally
cool.
Totally. And the magic of the open, like people get their first bar muscle up there, but I always like to think like they didn't get the bar muscle up then, right? They got it in the preparation that they had. And we're doing those kinds of things all year round. It's just there's like Cody said, maybe the wind is blowing a little harder in that direction.
The wind is blowing harder.
That's something that I think from a programming standpoint, there's gyms that do their own or follow somebody else's. But either way, I think having an opportunity to just focus on performance a little bit leading up to the open is a fun time of year to do that. I think there's no time of year that is my personal favorite part about the open is our job is to help our athletes get fitter, right? Like I always look at it as like when we just boil it down, our job is to make our athletes' lives better, outside the gym, time we spend together inside it. And there is no greater tool in the open to push performance in the right direction than what we see this time of year, not just during those 3 weeks, but in the time leading up as well. And so that's another reason. It just helps us do our jobs better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. Now, this is going to take us off track a little bit, but you mentioned using conjugate, and I knew you've worked with Chris McDonald throughout the years to some degree, right? You guys know each other pretty well?
Dude, Chris he's a coach at our gym.
He's at your gym now. Okay.
Yeah. He had CrossFit X Factor for a long time, and a couple of years ago, another seminar staff member, Nick Pappas, actually that was on our team, ended up moving to California, and Chris was like, "Hey, I'd love to take a spot." I was like, "Oh,
great,
awesome."
Yes, please. Where do you sign?
Yeah.
Yes. I'd be curious to know how you implement the Westside stuff at the gym, because it's like I've learned some, I've dabbled with it, but I still can't wrap my head around how do I make this happen with the everyday gym goer and in my normal classes. And so do you guys use accommodating resistance stuff? Do you use your speed days, and how do you guys approach this? And it sounds like you do all of that, right, with your three-week cycles you were making mention of. Totally.
Yeah. That is one of the keys, is those 3-week waves allow you to like teach it the first week, improve upon that the second week, and then hopefully maximize. So it's not random, or, it is constantly varied, but there's definitely a lot of structure to it. And I would say we implement the conjugate system. It's really influenced us a lot because between Chris McDonald and Jesse Bufano, I've learned a lot from those guys on how to structure and implement that. And we really started with our sport athletes, our CrossFit athletes that are competing at a higher level, of using that as a strength foundation. And it really kind of allows us to build the rest of their programming around their strength, just because that's a huge need for a lot of athletes trying to get to the higher levels. And so in our gym, we implement it in 2 ways. We have a conjugate strength class that meets like 3 times a day, and it's not a CrossFit class. It's basically classic conjugate of, there's 4 days a week. They meet Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So Monday is max effort lower, Tuesday is max effort upper, Thursday is dynamic effort lower, Friday is dynamic effort upper. So it's really easy to implement in that system because that's exactly
right.
That's what's
moving that over into our CrossFit classes. Our programming typically has like 2 what we would consider heavy days a week anyway, and so we use a lot of the conjugate system to bias how we program. Like I said, right now it's not a powerlifting kind of a focus for us. It's more of an Olympic weightlifting, but we utilize those 3-week waves just to get some consistency. And then throughout the rest of the year, when we do implement more conjugate work, the way we typically apply it is, for example, let's say we do a max effort lower day with a box squat. We find people's box squat, and then we would do the next 3 weeks, we'd do that same box squat with bands, with accommodating resistance. And people would then have a very current max of a percentage that they would work off of. And if they say they missed that max box squat day on week 1, they're actually going to find their max box squat, and then they'll have 2 more weeks of that accommodated resistance. I would say it's challenging to implement if you don't have quite a level of buy-in and a knowledge base on the coaching side. That is the key factor there, is just being able to educate coaches to be able to be confident to not only set up bands, but get people with the right weights and the right bands. It's not something that happens overnight. I think it takes a little while to kind of build that culture and education to where you can deliver a good product. But when you do, man, it's so fun because it opens up so many doors in terms of variance where,
oh my gosh, right? Same workouts, you add accommodating resistance, it's like it feels completely different, right?
How are you working to educate your coaches on that? Do you have regular coaches meetings? Because for myself, that would be absolutely something that I'd be like, I don't have the confidence to put bands on the bar and coach you through this. Like, how are you setting them up for success?
Yeah. So one, I would say we started off with an actual conjugate seminar that came out, and that was Jesse and Chris and actually Sam Sweat, and had all of our a bunch of legends, right? They actually have a podcast that really, I think there's 20 episodes in their podcast, and if people are looking to get education in that area, that podcast basically lays out the conjugate system from square one, and it's really kind of a how-to guide on how to roll through it, which is pretty cool. And then where was I going next from there?
Education.
Education piece. We do. Oh, you said coaches meetings. Yeah, we do meet every week. We have a full team meeting once a week, and then we spend about, it depends on the week and kind of what's going on, but we like to dedicate hopefully half of that time to some coach development. And so early on, and we haven't done as much specific conjugate stuff recently, but for a couple of years there, it was pretty frequent. And there's actually another great tool that's coming out. Jesse and Chris actually put together a band manual, which basically shows all of the ways to set up bands. That I keep giving a hard time. That should be coming out soon. There's been lots of different versions, and we use it in our gym for sure. Basically, you can just, it's a how-to, like, hey, here's a book, here's a picture of how to set it up, and here's, it looks a little different in different racks that people might have.
That's great.
Yeah, that'll be really nice when that comes out. So stay tuned, look for that, and another good tool to use.
Thinking of that, number one, like if you don't have the right racks or you don't have the right setup, it's really hard to get dumbbells set up and bands and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know if you remember, I think it was 2009 when CrossFit took the group of athletes to West Side and they went through that. Like, I can remember 5 or 8 gyms that all of a sudden put the what was it, like the eyelets on the ground and all this stuff, that they started building this out for accommodating resistance, and then used it one time, and then they were in the floor and never got used again. I know the gym that I was at had all this stuff set up, and I was like, we never ever used it outside of that very first time. So
totally. A lot of gyms now they'll have Yeah, you know the spotter arms that you can put on like a regular rogue rig?
Yeah, all the rogue stuff makes it so much easier, right?
Yeah, you can just flip those upside down, put them at the very bottom, and then you basically set
With the
up for
bands.
like a normal
Yeah.
R3 rack where you can set stuff up. So yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more out there than there used to be, and there's a lot more coming. So yeah,
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, last couple things, just like with, I'm curious just to know, when you're doing that and you're trying to bridge the gap between getting, like, how do you, it sounds like, do you do your own programming for your gym? Is
Yeah.
that right?
Mhm.
And it sounds like since it's based through that, do you guys, well, let me ask this, with the number of classes throughout the day, is there a variety of classes? Do you guys like have a master's class? And if so, is the programming still kind of based the same way? Is it kind of different? Do you do the same sort of stuff with those athletes or not?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what do your days look like with that many classes throughout the day?
Yeah, like 12 classes are CrossFit. They're the same.
Okay.
There is a master's class, and those guys, I think the average age in that class is like 70. So their programming is loosely based on what the rest of the gym is doing, but it's also very different. There's a lot more, balance work, and yeah, it looks, I would say it's loosely based on our regular CrossFit programming, but scaled to that demographic.
Can the masters athletes go into another class time if they want to?
Totally. Yeah, 100%. And really that class is, for anybody that, has maybe a little bit of a special circumstance. If you're about to have a baby or just coming back, there's a lot of athletes that jump into that class as well.
Got it.
If you're 80 years old, it's a pretty good option. At one of our, actually, it might've been our last open workout. We had an 83-year-old that was doing, for some reason, he set a goal that he really wanted to do wall walks. And he got up on a keg stand at our gym. Actually, it was at our 15th anniversary party. It was his first keg stand of his life. And
a keg stand? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thought you said a keg stand, like in a way to get into his wall.
He had a generous spot. Don't get me wrong. Some people might say it was more of like a, closer to a push-up angle than a full
incline. Yeah.
But he was chugging away.
Either way.
Props.
That's amazing.
If that's not a testament to CrossFit and like the definition of fitness and then how and health, to be able to, maybe I'm going to start adding that to the level 1 seminar when I talk about it. It's like, when I'm 80, I want to be able to do a keg stand. So that's what I'm training for. You think wall walks are like, they're not functional? Wait until you're 80 and you're at the gym party and you want to do a keg stand.
Oh, that's man. I don't think you've had like more cheering or excitement in the gym ever, regardless of whatever.
I can imagine. Yeah. That's really cool.
That's so awesome. So awesome. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for being on and jumping on early with us. Adam, so great to meet you and have you on here. Obviously, you guys got a course this weekend. If somebody wants to go and take a Burgener course, Cody, where do they go to find more about it?
Yeah, go to burgenerstrength.com. You can click on the courses that we offer, level 1, level 2. We also have an online level 1 if you're not able to get to a course. There's still time to get registered for Boise, so get out here. We have a code for all Best Hour gyms too. Just use the code Best Hour for 10% off. Adam and I are going to be there, a couple other guest coaches, and it's going to be a big, epic weekend. But check out a course near you. Also for the level 2, if you don't know, we only offer a handful of level 2s. We kind of co-branded that as like a training camp. Pretty amazing. And currently, you don't need to have the level 1 as a prerequisite. So if you see level 2 near you, go to it. It's phenomenal. It's going to blow your mind. We have a couple huge anchor points that will change the way you coach and perform the lifts. And then you can come to your level 1 some other day. So check that out, burgenerstrength.com. If you don't follow Burgener Strength on Instagram, we got a lot of good tools on there as well. And then you can contact us directly anytime. Just find us on Instagram. Send us a message, send us a video. We'd love to help you out.
There's a course coming up in May in Colorado that might be pretty fun.
Come to Roots in May. That's a big anchor course for us this year for sure.
Heck yeah. And if you've never been to Roots, that place is legend anyway,
And I've been a bunch, but I've not been to A new facility. Yeah. I don't think I've been to the brand new facility. So I'll be excited to get out there for that. What about you, Adam? How can people find more about Fort Vancouver, about you and you personally? Like, where can people go?
No, that's a good question. I suck at Instagram. I do have one, so there's that. We have
That's all right. I don't think that's a bad thing if you don't need to be on it all the time. Right?
Yeah, but I can follow along that way. And yeah, man, just keep being awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Well, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on with us. Hopefully, have you guys back on before too long.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. Now, if you're a coach who wants to coach more effectively, impact your members, and advance your career, then the Knowledge Pro is the next step. Inside, you'll get hundreds of coaching videos, weekly calls with level 4 coaches, and direct feedback on your coaching. From homework reviews to full class breakdowns, we do it all. This is the best way to grow as a coach and take your skills to the next level. Now, you can join the Knowledge Pro at besthouroftheirday.com/the-knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Now keep coaching, keep improving, and we'll see you next time.